Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Jake with Mind Over Mind, and today I'm going to be reviewing Jango Fett, an awesome Star Wars buildable figure. Without further ado, let's begin. So let's go ahead and start. We're going to save the best for last and leave the figure for now, but we're going to look at the box at the moment. This is a very cool representation of Jango Fett. It basically shows him from his Star Wars 2 Episode 2 confrontation with General Kenobi. You can see them fighting it out in the background. Pretty cool. Some basic set details. This is set number 75107. It is for ages 7 through 12, and it has 85 pieces. Moving on to the back of the box. It just shows Jango in his full glory. With his two pistols, which are very cool, two blasters. It also shows some of his functions. Basically, he has a kind of warhead that shoots out of his jetpack, and you can also equip his pistols on these side holsters. It also shows the rest of the buildable figures, which we will be reviewing in due time. But I just wanted to follow up the General Grievous review with Jango Fett, and I really like this figure, and I'm going to get into that in just a little bit. But for starters, let's go ahead and talk about the color scheme. I really do like the color scheme. It flows really well. It's kind of like a gunmetal gray with that kind of sand blue color with hints of brown accenting the pieces. He also has colors of kind of the darker blue on his helmet and his jetpack as well. So that's very cool. So standing at full height, Jango Fett is 24 centimeters tall, or 9.4 inches for those fellow Americans who don't use the metric system. He is a very nice figure. I'm just going to start off by saying that besides his color scheme, there are a lot of things that I really like about this figure. For instance, his head mold really does the character justice, and the little subtle details that they add as well. Like the wrist rocket, which he, of course, uses in the movies. That's a very cool feature that I'm really glad they added in. It just kind of makes him more of who he is. I really like the chest print. They could have gone very cartoony with it, but they went kind of with more of a realistic looking type of armor plate. It has those battle scratches, which really add a lot of detail. And, of course, there are those, battle scars, those deep metallic scars that show kind of like blaster shots that ricochet off his body armor, and it really does stay true to the Mandalorian style, which is nice. It also has those pockets in the midsection, and of course these two buckles that kind of hold it all together. So when you attach that piece on with the ball joint, it just completes the figure and adds a lot more character, which is very nice. Now, of course, another thing that makes Jango unique is his jetpack, or jump pack, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people were saying that it doesn't really give it justice, it doesn't really resemble the original pack very well, but I seem to like it a lot. Lego did what they could with what they had to work with. The only complaint that I have is with the red pins here and here, and there's a couple on the back as well. You can be seen easily. I just wish they had used black in that instance, but of course Lego's Lego, and they always use red pins. Even though it's slightly annoying, it's passable. It's fine. I just prefer black. Of course, his jetpack does have the warhead ability, so basically this is a separate series of pieces. You plug it right in here in the little circle where it's supposed to be, and you can get a lot of range out of this thing. I mean, just by tapping on it, it goes pretty far, but if you apply a lot of force, you can send it flying. It's not going to go across the room or anything, but it definitely has a lot of playability there. Now, another thing that Jango has that's kind of a pseudo function is you can holster his blasters on his legs, which is very cool. It's something that the original character did, and I was hoping that something like that would happen with Jango, the buildable figure at least. So by simply removing the blaster from his hand and basically clearing his arm out of the way, you can take that little blue pin sticking out of the blaster and attach it right on his thigh, which is very cool. It's a very nifty feature, and it doesn't interfere with his arm motion at all, which is nice, much appreciated. So if you go ahead and put both of those pieces on his thighs, his upper thighs, you basically yeah, get him in the ready position. I mean, he's not currently holding the blasters, but he's ready at a moment's notice. Okay, so another thing I like about the design itself is the I guess the thigh armor that comes with the set. I glossed over it a little bit earlier when I talked about the chest piece, but the attention to detail is very nice. I like how the scratches themselves are shiny and metallic. It just shows that they're cuts into the armor, which is cool. The only gripe, and it's a minor gripe, and I feel bad for talking about it because LEGO went out of their way to design this mold and this print, but they're exactly the same. And although you won't notice at an eye's glance, now that I've said it, it probably has ruined the piece for you if you have this set already, because you can just see the same exact battle scars on each piece. But that's just a super slight gripe. I like the armor itself, and it's very nice. For the shin armor, I love this piece. I'm going to say it over and over again. I said it in the General Grievous review. I'm going to say it here too. This new piece that they've introduced for these Star Wars sets, these buildable figures, I like them a lot, and they can go with a lot of different variation. You can put them as arm pieces, as leg pieces, and even like use them as things unrelated to, you know, parts of the body or armor pieces. I just really like them a lot, and I feel like they're a welcome addition to the CCBS system. The blasters themselves are pretty basic. They're basically comprised of a totally Technic build, just using all Technic pieces. It's not a bad thing. I just wish they had made designated molds for the guns themselves instead, and just breaking the guns themselves into basically two pieces or maybe even one mold. I'm not disappointed or anything. I just feel like they could have done a better job, but what we have is good, and it's not a huge complaint, but it is something that I wish they had done. Maybe just gun molds in the future would be very nice. In terms of poseability, Jango has the standard 3 joints in the arms and 3 joints in the legs, something that's become very expected of in the CCVS system. I do think that this character in particular has a lot of potential for the poseability, especially because his 2 hands each have a separate weapon or blaster, so there's a lot of possibilities for that. But I just feel like every pose I put him in, you've seen, I've just had a lot of fun posing this character. Every pose I put him in just makes him look awesome, and I think it's because of the helmet. It makes him look, it's just such a signature, iconic piece of Star Wars tech. But every pose that I put him in, he just looks great in. So I'm very impressed with the poseability. So that about does it for the Jango Fett buildable Star Wars figure. Do you like this set? Do you want it? Do you already have it? Let me know in the comments below. I just hope they do a Boba Fett buildable figure as well. That'd be much appreciated, because Boba Fett is, of course, the fan favorite of the bounty hunters. Anyways, this has been Jake with Mind Over Mind, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.